I am here with Sam Spade Morris. Sam is the singer and bassist for Glam Slam Boogie Woogie rock and roll band, the Midnight Devils. I love that description, man. Sam and the Midnight Devils have done tours with Pretty Boy Floyd and London Choir Boys and others. They've opened shows for Ing Van Malmsteen, and they have played iconic venues like the Whiskey a Go-Go and played the Rocklahoma Festival and many, many others. The Midnight Devils recently signed their first record deal with Pavement Entertainment and are set to release their Chips Enough produced sophomore album this spring, with extensive tour dates to follow. Extensive tour dates. That's a great sign. I'm hoping to see you guys here in Chicago.
It's all open and wide up again, and we are beyond thrilled. There's so much coming out of the quarantine. There's so much light now at the end of the tunnel that I think everybody's really excited.
Yeah, it's great, man. It's great to have live music again. That lockdown and that 2 years really without live music was devastating. So I'm a photographer as well, so I found myself not in a pit for a very, very long time, and it was rough. It was rough on all of us for sure, but it's coming back. You got some heavy duty plans. We're going to talk about that a little bit.
Yeah,
but let's start from the beginning a little bit. You're
sure.
a band from Nebraska. I don't get to say that very often. Tell me a little bit about the scene you grew up in, and the Chicago connection that you have.
Yeah, I was just gonna say that I kind of tell everybody we have dual citizenship, dual cities that we base ourselves out of. One is Omaha, one is Chicago, and our connection is Mr. Jimmy Mess, lives in Chicago, our drummer, and that's our has been such a blessing. We thought it was going to be this big thing, like, oh man, we got to travel back and forth. But as you know, Chicago's such a hard city to break in, and just to do well as a band, a new band, that we really had like the leg up, and we got offered so many great opportunities, historic venues in Chicago, that it's just been, calling it our second home is a really cool thing, and it's something we're very proud of.
Yeah, it's great. It's great to have you here, for sure. And I've been around the Chicago scene for so long, and it's always been pretty vibrant. It's a lot of different kinds of stuff, and it's like it's got its own aura or attitude.
It does.
It really does. Yeah. How was it for you in Nebraska coming up? I would imagine it's a little bit different there.
Yeah, it's a whole lot different here in Nebraska. We're centrally located, so it's between Denver and Chicago. So you would always get, growing up, you get bands that would be coming through on their off nights. And so when I was growing up, we had these really cool venues that would host just like amazing artists that you could get in and see before they were breaking. And I had heard stories, like Warrant would play before Uncle Ty, before Cherry Pie took off, and they'd play, and Dio would play these small clubs, Manson, all these incredible artists. So there was always kind of a good rock and roll community here. That being said, there's not a big glam rock, a big demand for glam rock. Nobody's doing it. But we find that most of the time around the country, we're the only band out there that's putting on the lipstick, putting on the leather pants and going for it, which is cool. But it makes it a little tough. We're a niche audience. In Nebraska especially, they look at you like you're an alien. You're so weird and so different. But everybody in Nebraska is so nice that, you get a lot of support from people. They don't understand what you're doing, but you get a lot of support.
Right. And that's important for sure. I grew up in that era, had all the makeup and the glam, that LA scene, if you will. When you were putting the band together, was it an homage to that scene? Is that what you were looking to do, is kind of emulate that look and sound because you really enjoyed those bands?
It was close. It was a really big mixture of everything combined, where the makeup and the costumes, they aren't even really costumes, but the outfits and everything, it's a progression. And I think it just keeps getting wilder and keeps getting more over the top. The farther we go, the more that I see the sky is the limit, and that we can really do whatever is in our hearts that we want to do, like to express ourselves. I really feel that we can do it, and we can take out anything, whether it be sexuality, or we can take out, race, and everybody comes to our shows for the same reason, and it's to have a good time. It's really that simple. It's to party, and it doesn't matter what scene you come from, whether you're punk, you're heavy metal, you're rock and roll. We can cross all these genres, and we've done it before, opening for all these different bands. I think how's this going to work? And I think at the end of the day, people want to come and blow off steam, and they want to have fun, and they want to be able to forget about all the bad stuff that's going on in the world, whether it's the virus or the war or whatever, and really come out and embrace life and celebrate life, no matter what it is. And I think that's the coolest thing with this band in particular. We didn't set out to emulate, say, Motley Crue or these hair bands, and we kind of get lumped in that category of a hair band, when I tell people we're not really a hair band, we're a glam band. There's kind of a difference. We lean more towards the New York Dolls, Alice Cooper, Sweet, and Slade than we do towards Motley Crue or Whitesnake. Mm-hmm. That being said, I love both those bands, but it's more of that theatrical, and I don't even think it's a shock value. It's a theatrical celebration is what it is.
Yeah. And I have two older brothers, so I'm 53, so I came up with the New York Dolls and all those, those bands, Sweet and Slade. There is a difference for sure.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, there is a real difference when you spend a day listening to those bands and then spend the day listening to Poison, Warren, Motley Crue.
Right.
Your days are going to be different.
Yes.
It is a different experience. And yeah, I when I listen to your stuff, I get a little bit of both, and that is fun. It's a lot of fun. It's nothing too serious. You guys don't take yourselves too seriously.
No,
it's just a good time. I want to grab a beer and raise a fist and have a good time and scream out loud.
Yep.
And that's cool. The live show has to be incredible. You guys, I would think you kind of live for the live show. Yeah,
we're absolutely a road band, and that's where we shine the most. Is when the chips are down and you're in a van, with the boys driving from city to city, knocking out shows and really bringing that energy. That's where we kind of hit our groove, and we love being on the road. We love touring. We love getting the opportunity to open for these big acts and kind of show them that, hey, the new generation's here, the next wave, the guys that are going to be here after Def Leppard leaves, after Motley Crue hangs it up. We're the next ones coming down the line, and we're ready to do the work and ready to put on the miles, because that's what they did. I understand. Like we follow the blueprint exactly of those guys. Van Halen and the Ramones and stuff like that. You put an album out, you tour. You put an album out, you tour. There's no questions. This is what we do.
Yeah. It's hard work, and you guys are all in for it for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Now I know I research you guys. I see a band called 3D in Your Face.
Yeah.
Started in 1999.
Yeah.
You released an album called Midnight Devils.
Yep.
That's changed a little bit. That album was in 2013. When you hear those songs, I mean, you redid some of those songs for that record. When you hear those from that long ago, how do you feel about them? And the transition from 3D in Your Face to the Midnight Devils.
I feel that the songs are great, and that's why we kept the songs, because the attitude and energy in the songs were there. The delivery from 3D in Your Face, the band itself, I didn't think captured the heart and soul and just that pure rock and roll vibe. For me, they were good, and I learned so much over the process. The first couple records that I'd ever really put out as a musician, and you learn what to do, what not to do. Is the same with the first record we put out with the Midnight Devils, is that you have to set the bar, and then for the next one, what to do, what not to do, and you raise the bar. So with 3D in Your Face, we love that band. I joined that band when I was probably 20 when I first walked in, and I thought this is incredible. I'm a 20-year-old on the road with this hair band playing covers every night. There's chicks, we're partying. This is brilliant, and I love the songs, like those songs, and you could see the crowd just going crazy. But you reach a plateau in a cover band and in a band like that where we couldn't go any farther. We couldn't travel. We couldn't kind of reach for our goals. We were handcuffed. So that's where we had to break and make our own, kind of create our own destiny and be our own bosses, our own managers, and say, how far are you willing to take this? How far do you want to take this?
Yeah. Yeah. And it's, it's progressed, definitely.
Mm-hmm.
When did you decide to start singing, playing bass? Because you didn't in that band that I'm not
right.
aware of. Was that was that something you were a little bit intimidated by, or was that something you were dying to do all the time?
I was very intimidated. I'd never done it. I started as a guitar player, and when I was in 3D in my 20s, I was with the stage manager, right? And then one day the bass player quit, so I learned all the bass parts and switched instruments. Next thing you know, we were writing songs, and I was like, you know what? I think I should really sing these songs, and it worked. And man, it just killed, and people were just dying for that kind of that fire, that intensity, that it wasn't cheesy and it wasn't made up. And you could see people just getting off on the fact that it's real. Yeah. And I go, I think we're onto something now. And when we formed the Midnight Devils, we started as a 2-piece acoustic act, right? So Sniper and I, we both play guitars in we would just go to small towns all over Nebraska and Iowa and play like an hour set and get the people fired up and take our guitars and leave. And I was like, I think we really got something here. Like, this is really cool. And we added a drummer, and the rest kind of became history. But being a singer is new and different and exciting for me, because I played instruments before, and I know, it's a whole thing. But being a singer it's you got to watch out. You're leading the crowd. You're the host, the MC, the reverend. You're leading and studying Paul Stanley, studying David Lee Roth so hard. You kind of know it's a sixth sense of how to get a crowd fired up, how to pop them, how to get them just going absolutely crazy. And I don't accept anything less than that on stage. I go, I know why you're here. You came to party. You came to get crazy. You came to shake your ass. And I'm not going home without that. Yeah. So it's really that fire and the lack. There's not a whole lot of singers that are doing that anymore. There's not a lot of guys going out there and really involving the crowd or breaking that barrier between the crowd and the band.
Yeah, and that's true. And I think that's kind of that glam hair excitement. It's the fun party time.
Yeah.
And it comes with that for sure. Chip's Enough, a local legend here in Chicago, of course, with Enough's Enough. I know Chip well. I see him all the time at shows. Yeah. Where he's been on the show here for many times, probably 3, 4, or 5 times. Chip is just a great guy. I don't know him as a producer. I've never recorded or anything with him. How is Chip the producer? Is he a hands-on guy that's gonna tell you, hey, you need to add a bridge here, or you need to add another verse, or is he a guy that's just gonna turn the knobs for you and get you the best sound that you want?
He was a living rock and roll legend. Might I say that before we even start? I have the most respect for the guy, and he has helped us out so much, more than you would even know, as a producer, as a friend, as kind of like a father figure. And I think anytime that we're around him, I just kind of park myself and soak up the wisdom that if he knows he's putting out wisdom, or if he doesn't, I'm listening and I'm right there with him. And so we're going to be on tour with him all summer long. I'm beyond excited to just be able to hang out with him on tour, actually, finally. But in the studio, it was such a cool thing where we walked in with 10 songs that we had demoed in Nebraska. We brought to Chicago. And he had never heard the songs. And so he goes, play this. And he rolls up this joint. We're sitting at his house, a joint this long. And he's like, play the songs for me, bro. And I'm like, okay. And I play him on my phone. And he's like, I think we got something here. This is fantastic. Get those drums up and let's go. And he doesn't even twist the knobs. We had an engineer that kind of did did all he did all the production on that.
Right.
And Chip would listen to the songs. He's like, play them through once. And he goes, okay, brilliant. I like where you guys are at. What you need to do is, Jimmy, play the drums just real straight. No fills. Bass, don't even worry about it. I got the bass. And I was like, okay, cool. No problem. And everything was there. He just tweaked a couple minor things that moved mountains for me and made the song so much better. He would just cut stuff out or be like, you don't need that. Don't even worry about that. The simpler, the better. And the one thing he did say, as we walked in there, he goes, he's smoking the joint again. He's like, I love the songs, but you need a single. The record label wants a single. You need a cover. What's the cover going to be? You need it by tomorrow. And I'm like, we got to learn a song to put on a record for forever by tomorrow. And we sat there for maybe an hour flipping through MTV, thinking of songs that we could cover. And finally we left and we went and had a hot dog in Chicago, and we go, oh, there's the song. We heard it on the radio and we're like, brilliant. This is the song. And it came out spectacular. Chip's like, Fox, that's incredible. So it's just a guy that loves music and loves rock and roll, and being around him, you get inspired.
Yeah, and he is a guy who's around a lot of rock and roll, and he is full of wisdom. The guy is just a great dude to hang out with, and he's always got a great story and a great vibe around him. I mean, just a great vibe. He makes you comfortable. That's really, really cool. How did you get to know Chip? I know your drummer is
lived with him.
Okay.
Lived with him, yeah, out in Blue Island.
Okay, that's fantastic.
So that was the connection. And so Jimmy and Chip would kind of talk, and we ended up landing a couple of the opening spots for Enough's Enough.
Mm-hmm.
And through that, like, the shows went so good in the beginning that we just sparked up this incredible friendship with all the guys in the band. Everybody was just so cool to us, and we're like, oh, we got like a brother band now, like a big brother band. Mm-hmm. And so whenever they're doing shows, they'll take us out and we'll do all these shows together. We're on the same booking agency as Enough's Enough, same as Pretty Boy Floyd. And what that connection with Enough's Enough sparked the booking agency out of LA, and then it sparked the record deal out of Chicago. So it's been just like an incredible ride because of Chip, because of the boys in Enough's Enough. And we got, so meeting him is a whole different thing, right? So you kind of, you can sit there, but you don't want to say anything stupid in front of him, because this guy sold a truckload of records. This guy knows exactly, he's hanging out with Bruce Springsteen and Joe Perry and all this stuff. So you kind of, like, I try and play it really cool around him and not do anything dumb, but he loves our band, and he loves the energy, and he loves, he knows whenever we hit the stage, it's just going to be chaos. And so a lot of nights he'll be like, you guys are going on after us, bro. And I'm like, okay, cool. So he'll put us in that position where we'll be like, we'll play after him. And I'm just like, Chip's doing it to us. I love it.
Yeah. And that's it. He's a spur of the moment guy, I think. And he's not afraid to do some crazy stuff. And
no,
he's goes with his instincts, and that's pretty great. Any piece of advice that he's given you that really stuck with you? I'm sure, he's like I say, he's full of wisdom. I know from talking to him so much. Is there something, about the future of the band, maybe that he said to you, that really had an impact?
I'm going to try and not, because I got a really good story about this. And it's like, we're a month ahead of time till I can tell the full story.
Okay.
Because he indirectly influenced the name of the album, right? So we would sit at his place, and he's like, do you have a name for the album? I go, I'm thinking about this. I'm thinking about this. And then we would get on to talking about, like, say, girls or just life in general. We would just be talking, and he'd be like, how are things going? I'm like, fine. I'm having trouble with this girl. She's like really dragging me through the mud, and it's really making things tough. And he gave me the piece of advice, and I gotta say it right. Oh man. Like, I know I because it's the name of the album. So Chip indirectly, he gave me the piece of advice, and I go, boom, that's the name of the album right there. And so now it's on there. And what he said is, if you can imagine, I'm going to try and say it. never get on your hands and knees for somebody.
Mm-hmm.
Like you know, you don't want to stoop to that level and give them that satisfaction of asking, if you can get what I'm saying.
Yeah.
So it directly did the name of the album. Like, man, Chip had a banger. Like, he has these sayings, all these little sayings.
Mm-hmm.
And if you just listen to him, you'll catch up and start talking. Like, if you hang out for him long enough, you'll start talking like he talks.
Right. It's great. Yeah, he's got his own. It's like he's his own country. You know,
Yeah.
it's pretty great. I love the guy. He's fantastic. Now I know you're a big vinyl collector.
Yeah.
You're a big music fan.
Yeah.
What's the first record you ever bought? What got you into rock and roll?
The first, it wasn't records. So the first CD that I ever got was the first one that kind of changed everything for me, as I heard Detroit Rock City by Kiss. And so I go, I have to figure this out. I have to figure out what this band is all about. I'm so into it. So I went to the record store and I bought Psycho Circus, not knowing anything, right?
Wow.
So Psycho Circus ended up being one of my favorite Kiss records because it was the first one I bought. Right. Later on down the line, I realized there was so much stupid stuff surrounding that record.
Yeah.
But the songs were good.
Yeah.
So I went back and I got like Creatures of the Night, which was another weird record, but really good. You know, I Love It Loud, and just diving into that catalog. But as far as vinyl go, I was given a bunch of vinyl to begin with, and that was where it really started. So I remember listening to like Def Leppard, Hysteria maybe, or High and Dry on vinyl with the headphones on, or the Ozzy Osbourne Randy Rhoads tribute with the headphones on.
Yeah.
Mind blown.
Yeah. It's all those records, you know, and of course, you know, I grew up with two older brothers, being a little bit older. I remember sitting in front of a turntable listening to vinyl, and there was a certain something, a magic that happened at that time. And to this day, when I put on a record and, you know, start to listen, there is the magic that happens.
Mm-hmm.
And it's great to see that, you know, you've experienced that magic. It's pretty great.
Yes.
Yeah, very cool.
And I worked at a record shop for a while, and that was kind of a continuation of the magic. It was so cool to be able to go into work, and guys would just come in and they would want to talk about rock and roll, just their stories. And I loved it. Yeah. Like, I want to know who you've seen, where you've been, you know, what records you had as a kid. That's what I enjoy.
Yeah, and that's cool. Yeah, that's the thing about like a used record store and things like that. Mm-hmm. Is that's part of the experience.
Yes,
for sure. Yeah, it's a lot of fun. Yeah, definitely. I'm really glad. I'm always glad to hear that, you know, people have that same experience, because I grew up with that. I didn't have any other experience, any other choice. That is what we did. So, you know, I see it happening to, you know, even younger kids now. It's really great to see it coming back, because I think there is music isn't as appreciated, it seems, in the newer generations. You know, it's just an assumed thing, right? You pull it up on your phone, and then, you know, you listen to a little, and then you just go about your day, and it's whatever. For me, it was an event. You know, getting a record was a day-long event. You know, you went out and you bought it, and you came back and you opened it up and you read it, and it was a thing. So there was an importance to it. And
like, you listen to the single, like you discover the single, and then you listen to it 100 million times in a row. Right. Like, I love this song. I love this song.
Definitely. You're signed on Pavement Records, which, you know, another Chicago-based, you know, fantastic. You know, Tim King there, Mark Noira, really doing a great job. A lot of great people on that label now. What does that record deal look like for you? Are we going to get, is it a multi-record deal? You know, we're going to see how this album goes. You know, how, as far as, you know, the future for you guys in, you know, releasing stuff, how does that look for you?
That's what it is. As of right now, it's we're going to put out this record, and if it does good, then we're in, you know. So we're still in the beginning stages. And I don't know if you talk to a lot of guys, but being in an upcoming band is like you're in the levels. just keep moving up levels. So right now we've kind of graduated above some of the local stuff, and we're now on the bottom level of being on an agency, which is like they put us on the really hard, difficult shows to see if we can actually, pass the test. And I think it's the same with the record labels that will put out this record. How well it does, depending on kind of dictates our course for the year after. But I have a feeling this record's going to do good. We've been waiting. Our fans have been waiting on it for 2 years now, and the songs are just spectacular, just catchy and hooky. And I just think people are going to be like, oh my gosh, this is what we needed.
Yeah, that's cool. Everybody wants to have a good time, especially now. People haven't been able to go out too much and enjoy that good time with live music. So you guys are here to represent for sure.
Yeah, so it's just like you just got to I keep thinking like, well, we got to keep pushing, and you never want to rest or be comfortable where you're at. Mm-hmm. You always got to keep pushing that envelope and like how high can we climb? And you just keep seeing how many levels we can jump up.
Yeah, it's great. I'm excited to see what happens for you guys. Now, tour plans. You guys have some heavy duty stuff coming up. Can you tell us a little bit about what you got?
Yeah, the first one that we have is with Enough's Enough. Kicks off in 1 week or 2.5 weeks. We do like a little Midwest run, and all it was Iowa City, Des Moines, Lincoln. Cool. It was a holdover from the quarantine days. They rescheduled. I was like, that's the easy way to break the ice. Then the agency calls and they're like, we need a favor. I'm like, oh man, here we go. And Chuck goes, I need you on tour with Sponge for 4 days after the Enough's Enough show. But the thing is, it starts in Reno and goes through California. So instead of having a nice little easy beginning run of 3 days, now we have a 10-day cross-country jaunt with 2 different national acts before. So then we come home, we got those, and it's Reno, the Whiskey, Sacramento, and 4 shows. Great. It's awesome. I'm beyond excited. And then we go out with the Choir Boys and the Steve Ramone Band in May. And that's another reschedule from the quarantine. And that starts in Brooklyn and winds all the way to California. And then we go out with Pretty Boy Floyd and Enough's Enough in June. And July, we're at the Rock Fest in Cadott, Wisconsin.
Man, fantastic. That is way cool. There's going to be plenty of opportunities for people to get out and see you. Yeah, everywhere, which is great. I know you guys are, from Nebraska and Chicago here. So, I didn't have too much fear of being able to get out and see you. But you're going to be available to everybody.
I think we're doing a show with the Choir Boys in Chicago. And I think we're doing a show with Pretty Boy Floyd and Enough's Enough in Aurora.
Okay, excellent.
So it's kind of close, yeah.
Yep, really close. And I'm looking forward to it, man. Sam, it's been great, man. Let's do it again. When you're through the tour a little bit, and you got another chance to talk and let us know how it's going for sure.
Absolutely, I appreciate it. Thank you so much.
You got it, man. Thanks so much for coming.
Yep.
And hanging with me, man. I appreciate it. See you, Sam.
Bye.